Shasha Datta Chaudhary, greeting His Holiness with a bouquet of flowers. Caroline Datta Borwa, greeting His Holiness with a shawl, traditional shawl. And Manjushri Borwa.
Thank you. That's it. Guwahati is Hachik Library. Yamane Sakashale or the Yanjik Day, Memans two, Geshan Day, the Teripage Tangus of the and at the Yombe Kudu Day, Chance Jig Tabat Tamzi, Yom Cheche. And the nation now the Ganger was chatting already in a Gange Tangling Tone, Chance de Changa Yombre, and Chance Samoroja to Shissing. And they are the Yagolibe, as a Zenju Pimi, Shisha Kuniyong, Chanzo, that Guru. Now, Pimi Zenju, Kazayo, did not ever Zenju, the Lagonda, Zenju. On this, and that chance of Manchester, number chatting yori. And Mudi Josaya Jozukamne, that makes a dodgy chatting yori. Chainda, Narshashana, Nabjumagu. Lola, Gange Champushu, Jigita, Nadang Wane, Martinisuta, Troyombury. He is Rawan Lumbe, Sanet Tangudi, I get them, Gansamani Summer daily. Edine, Down, Gamba Leche. Any chance you would eat Shibu, Jiggy. That's a Samso, Joro, Gashing in them, you can't shoot danger. Those strong. That day, the miserably, Jay Yomari, and can't summon law. Miss Shivujigita, Tabatamzi, Yom Cheche, Shivu Yauchon. And the other on chance of member. She said, to Mutane, not the Yorashis, Tawanda, Dikula Yorashis, and Tagira to Susungudu. That Yala Navsa and that Tuzu Luji Kyongok got a Napasu Drayagi. She Zerim Sinemendo, she Lashas Nemendo, come bar of Stiksha in the Zane, that Tardos Kausamunges, and that Tusan Jilu. Nidon Jangaria, never to Yogin Dash, take it to sketch. Just any Kanzada, logic hacks Kanzo, good, and as a Togri, Toluja Tuchoria. That's Anna. Now I want to speak English. Brothers and sisters, I am extremely happy having this opportunity meet people. Although I passing through Guwahati, I think a few occasions in the past, but this is almost the first time meeting with the public. And also yesterday interfaith service. Indeed, I'm very, very happy. Then, wherever I talk with people, I always say, consider myself as another human being, one of the 7 billion human beings, no differences. So on human level, then we can communicate very easily. We all same human being. If we emphasize the secondary level of differences, for example, I'm Tibetan, I'm Buddhist, then it's some distance. Then particularly, if I stress, I'm His Holiness Dalai Lama, then, see, you consider you something special. Actually, you see, that kind of thinking is actually the additional barrier of audience and myself. Then also, too much emphasis, I'm something special. Then, actually, it creates myself in a some kind of prison. You isolate from other. Then, that kind of way of thinking, I am something special. Actually, you yourself isolate from other people. Result, you get deep insight, more lowly feeling. As a result, distrust. And also, pretension. Oh, I'm something special. That brings anxiety. So, it actually, that kind of attitude, you see, really brings more suffering to yourself. So that's why, when I come here, you see, you arrange something very special. I don't like these things. Much easier. You see this? That's what the normal way. That's much better. So therefore, now here, we communicate each other on human level. 7 billion human beings on this planet, mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. And on secondary level, different culture, different races, a different country, different nationality, and different faith. Secondary level, there are a lot of differences. Even one individual, morning, different idea, different concept. Afternoon, different views. So there's differences. Sometimes you see, too much sort of different ideas come, then a little bit confused. And then sometimes there is danger, nervous breakdown, right? Too much conflict in your mind. So these, I think, too much emphasis on specific sort of thing, right? Like that. So now, the reality, the whole world now become like one small blue planet. East future depend on West. And Western sort of future depend East. And similarly, South, North. That's now reality. If you look world from space, no national boundaries, just one small blue planet. Now environment issue, like effect from global warming. Everywhere Now feed that. And global economy. Also, you see now, bound to close each other. So therefore, unlike ancient time, we Tibetan, a country mainly surrounded by at least south, the Himalayan mountain. And then also Gunung Monastery, Gunung Mountains, like that. And geographically, people usually call roof of the world. So we're a little bit isolated, physically also. So naturally, because of that condition, you see, certain our way of life. So a little bit isolated. I think Assamese also, I think, in several past centuries, you only think Assamese. And members, you think only member like that. So that kind of now looking, that kind of thinking is outdated. Now we must think 7 billion human beings' future. We need sense of concern of well-being of entire humanity. And also sense of concern about healthy planet. So now time comes. Now we are in 21st century. As I mentioned earlier, the reality, the old sort of thinking, old-fashioned way of thinking, now outdated. I think many problems which we are facing is the reality much changed. But in our mind, still the old way of thinking. Too much emphasis, we and they. We believe my interests not depend on them. So then, exploitation, bully, cheating, at worst, violence, killing, even war. Look, some area. Now, this very moment, many innocent people killing in Syria and also some country in Africa, and also in the name of different faith, again killing each other. Number of area, people remain constant fear. Why? With too much emphasis. The concept of we and they. And finally, me and other. So self-centered attitude is actually against human nature. We human beings, social animal. So each of us part of the society. So every individual's future entirely depends on the society or community. That's human nature, because we are social animal. Then the thinking, just oneself, not other. So that's actually against the basic human nature. I think psychologically, if you too much sort of emphasis oneself, and then more worry, more anxiety. More anxiety develops distrust. Distrust brings fear. Fear brings anger. Person who have a lot of fear, distrust, no matter what material value or powerful person, in human level, very unhappy person. So psychologically also, too much think oneself. Now some medical scientists already, they found the negative result, too much emphasis, selfishness. So my friend, scientist, they carry experiment. They say 3 weeks sort of training. Training means here learning about warm-heartedness or compassion. Then let them think more about compassion, get some feeling here. About 3 weeks. Before that sort of as the program starts, they check blood pressure and stress amount of stress. And after 3 weeks program, again check physical condition, blood pressure reduce, stress much reduce. As a result, person become much happier. And then become very easy to communicate with their community, like that. So this is not saying on the basis of scripture, but scientific sort of experiment. So, and then again, you see medical scientists, they say constant fear, constant anger, hatred, actually eating immune system. So very harmful for physical health. Then obviously, person who have full of fear, distrust, how can develop friendly community, friendly family? Impossible. We need friends. We really need friendly family. Then very happy. The friendship entirely based on trust. Trust comes from if you honest, truthful, transparent, then trust comes. In order to carry truthful, honestly, transparently, you need self-confidence. Lack of self-confidence. Then some pretensions and the little lies here and there. That totally destroy trust. As I mentioned earlier, then you yourself really make you yourself lonely person. So therefore, according our human nature, since we are social animal, and then also, you see, our life, the way our life start and grown up, firstly from mother's affection and parents' affection. So therefore, the experience early our life, affection which provided our mother mainly, and then parents, father, and relatives. That experience really absorbed in our blood. So rest of the life, you see, that experience remained there. So therefore, our life began that way. Then I often telling people, you see, those people who received maximum affection in early life. The health is better, the mental state much stable. On the other hand, those individuals who received less affection, then deep inside some kind of fear and distrust. So physically also it's very, very harmful. So that's nature. Like that. So therefore, we, whether believer or non-believer, I mean here, whether you see some kind of concept of belief, next life, or heaven, or hell, or Buddhist moksha, Buddhahood, no matter, as an individual, we need these basic human values, irrespectively, irrespective, believer or non-believer. Sometimes I used to telling people, those anti-religious people, they also need compassion, so that their judgment can be more realistic. So realistic effort, more effective, positive result. So even those people who really feeling some kind of anti-religion, then with calm mind, then their work more effective. So therefore, you see the compassionate mind, warm-heartedness is the key factor for happy human individual, happy family, happy community. So that's the basis of human approach. Of course, human life, a lot of problems. I think firstly, everybody, now including myself, when 1959, March, when we reached there, my age, 24. Now, 78. At that time, I can easily climb the mountains. Now difficult. His knees get some problem. And then also, last few decades, my gallbladder also removed. Now I think my previous visit here, I think my body, full human body. Now this time, one important organ missing. So these are, it's a problem causing sort of suffering. These you can't avoid. Yeah. So old age, your memory, a little bit sort of gradually decline, like that. So these we cannot solve by force. Okay. Then family level. Some of my friend, when I met, the early period, one wife. Then after a few years, another meeting, another new wife. The worst thing, the previous wife with children. So then divorce, the second wife. Then sometimes even third wife. This also is a problem. Certainly, that family, particularly those children, I think mentally, suffer. And then those people who married a couple without children, very much worry. Some of my friends, they asked me blessing for children. Then many children come, again problem. They want to practice birth control and religious serious believer, then that also is a little bit difficult. So, and then wealth. If you are poor, suffering, problem. Become very rich, again worry, more anxiety. And political power, without, at the beginning, you see, you want some kind of, political power, a position. When you get, a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety. So these are, see, that's the nature of human life. So therefore, it is impossible to no longer, to achieve no longer any problem on this planet. No, impossible. Furthermore, today, human population around 7 billion. Next few decades, human population will reach 10 billions. And the limitation of natural resources now already become clear. And global warming. Due to global warming, the nature disaster also will increase. So then, these are problems for humanity, not just one nation or two nations. This is global level problem. Now we must think the basic level or global level and our national level problem or community level problem. Try to solve these local problems, keeping in your mind global solution, the problem, or sense of concern about global level, then you can deal your local problem more human way. Too much self-centered attitude and strong concern, strong sort of concept of we and they, then small local problem then become easily out of control. Then violence. Through violence, never solve problem. Even a big nation like United States, superpower. But of course, United States, really a democratic country, wonderful country. Any policy, you see, use violence, force, use force, you never get satisfactory result. Unlike previous centuries, in the past something different. Now today, 21st century. So now they use force is outdated. So use force is unrealistic method, like Iraq crisis, Afghanistan crisis. The American government motivation is very good. Try to bring democracy, liberty. But method wrong. So therefore, use wrong method, result never be satisfactory result. Unexpected consequences will happen because wrong method. So therefore, we must educate people. Any problem, family level, community level, national level, or global level, now time come, we must follow non-violent practice. That is human way of approach, like that. So that I always telling people. Also, I believe that. And regarding Tibet issue, also, you see, with this sort of belief, of course, now last, you see, 3 years, I now completely retired from political responsibility, political leadership. When I have the sort of responsibility, I start. Our problem must solve firstly through non-violence. Non-violence method, you cannot sort of follow a non-violent method with the concept one-side victory, one-side defeat. So, mutually agreeable solution, that is the practical way, that's the non-violent way. So one-side victory, one-side defeat, then confrontation comes. Confrontation brings violence. So with this belief, I also, you see, regarding the Tibetan problem, also you see, I strictly follow non-violent, mutually agreeable solution. That's why we are not seeking independence from People's Republic of China. Our history is different. 7th century, 8th century, 9th century, according to some historian, they say at that time, Chinese emperor, Tibetan emperor, Mongol emperor, 3 big emperor in that huge, area. They say that these not based on Tibetan sources, but mainly Chinese sources and some other sources, like that. So that's past is past. Look, European Union. The people there, I think European, more mature people, they think according to the reality. So the concept of European Union start, but then they carry practice. In the past, those member states fought each other, killing each other, in order to serve their queen or their king or their nations. Now, the previous century, you see, now they mainly, I think, General de Gaulle and Adenauer, you see, they developed the idea. European Union, very practical, very realistic. I often should be expressing my African friends. Now, concept of Pan-Africa. Now, the future of Africa very much depend on that kind of concept. Then also North, South America. These things, like that. So therefore, now, I think any problem we must solve through realistic method. Should not think old way of thinking. So like that. So that's my main sort of topic. Any problem must solve through human way of approach. That's non-violence. Like that. So then here, yesterday also I mentioned the secular ethics is the key factor. Secular ethics means sense of concern of others' well-being. That not by force or some kind of order, but through analyze. Oh, if I have 10 friends happier, 100 friends more happier. And more friends there, when you really face some problem, you need help, then you can ask. If you're surrounded by enemy or distrust people, and if you really face some problem, then difficult. When you look this side, oh, I can't ask, because our relation is not good. And look here again, oh, difficult to approach them. Look there, again, you suffer. At least, you see, look this side. Oh, this is my friend. This my trusted friend. This side also is a trusted friend. Then mentally, you really feel happy. If necessary, you can ask some help. That's a human nature, isn't it? So, see, the sense of concern of others' well-being is not religious matter. Not talking about heaven, not talking about hell. Simply to build a happy human society. Now, these are very, very essential. So think more that. As my brothers, sisters, if you have some interest, then think more and try to experiment. If you have your neighbor, a little bit difficult because of relations, then try to make friend and the reconciliatory sort of attitude, reconciliation. Today's enemy, you can change tomorrow's good friend possible. If you think too much yourself and exploit others, then today's friend, then next day, difficult friend. So therefore, the secular ethics, real meaning is sense of concern about others' well-being. Because we are social animals. My future depends on them. So I must take care about them. That's the basis of secular ethics. With that motivation, physical action, verbal action become more because of ethnic actions, not harming. At least, if possible, serve them. If not, restrain harming them. So that's the concept of secular ethics. So now that's all. So if you feel some sort of worthy to think, then think more, discuss among yourself and also with your friend. Then if you think these are some irrelevant, then forget. No problem. I'm leaving tomorrow. So your problem remains with you always. So therefore, you see, if you really accept your problem, then okay, no problem. If you really do not want these problems, then think more how to solve, how to face the problem. So that's all, my talk.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My question is, does the erosion of moral values in today's society exasperate and frustrate you? In such situations, how do you reaffirm your belief in the fact that there is still goodness left in humanity?
There's no other alternative. This problem, the problem there, as I mentioned earlier, even I think increasing. So if we try to solve this problem by force, mutual suffering, mutual destruction. So problem, if you try to tackle the problem, use force, then more problem, multiply problem. So there's no other alternative. Or another alternative, alcohol. Don't think these things. Or drugs. Then finally, suicide. That's silly. Of course, entire 7 billion human beings, suicide. Then okay. There's no longer any problem on this planet. That's a silly. So while this problem remains, try to achieve more peaceful society, peaceful society, happy society. So that's the way. So here, I want to share the existing modern education system, very much oriented economy or material value. So whole generation who come through that kind of education, then eventually, you see, they are thinking more materialistic way of thinking, materialistic way of life. That's why you see these problems that happen. Only concerned about money. In order to get money, use force or cheating, exploitation. Even religious people use religion as another instrument to exploit other, bully other, cheating other. So we need basic moral ethics. So that's why, there's no other choice. Try. If you make effort, try, fail, no regret. If you never make effort, then you really feel guilty, sad, regret, clear. That's my belief. Next question.
Yes, sir. I have a second name here, Drishti Nandana from Sarla Gyanjoti.
His Holiness, my question to you is, do you miss the Potala Palace of Lhasa?
Not much. When I think Potala, no proper bathroom. So now I think the last 54 years, certain lifestyle, the bathroom very easy. So I think spend 1 week in Potala, I think a little difficult. No shower, very difficult. Fortunately, cold climate and dry climate, so that's one positive factor. Otherwise, it's difficult. So, however, I miss, Tibetan culture, Tibetan society. Very nice, very gentle, generally speaking, very gentle, very compassionate. Number of the tourists, many Westerners, and many Chinese, who once visit Tibet. Usually, they got very good impression. So that aspect, more compassionate society, more peaceful society, that sometimes I feel missing. Like that. And then India, Dharamsala, during monsoon, too much rain. Then occasionally I feel, Lhasa climate, very beautiful. And I love delphinium, the flower, delphinium. Dharamsala, because of too much rain and too much humidity or hot, so delphinium cannot survive properly. So in Lhasa climate, very good. So dahlia, delphinium grow very well. And my Nubilinga, my residence, one delphinium, each year it grow, its root grow. Then 59, it's almost like, there, Kasoda. I think at least 4-5 feet and grow. So that sometimes I miss. But then one, consolation is Dharamsala, some tulip, some hyacinth at the Bikunia. Sometimes it's difficult to grow in Lhasa like that. So, in any way, next question.
Can I ask now Anuranjan Kumar Kazi?
Your Holiness, in our schools, we are taught how to be successful man in life. But less effort is put to make us a real man with spiritual excellence. So do you think that spiritual excellence or spiritual education should be made compulsory in our education system?
Secular ethics, I think, must include in our secular education lesson. Must include. That's my view. Last, I think, a few years, some scientists, some educationists, mainly from America, already carry as an experiment or pilot project, already doing. And now we are collecting materials. And also in Delhi, with cooperation with some professors in some universities in Delhi. Also, you see, we are working. So I think once, you see, we achieved, you see, that curriculum. Then I think, like here, Assam, I think a few schools, I think should carry these sort of text. Then we'll see what effect after 4 or 5 years. Watch, examine. If some positive result, positive effect there, then you can expand 100 schools or 1,000 schools. And also, you see, can Nundi. Oh, some change according to the local condition and experience. I think we should not content the present system of education. Of course, material development also very, very necessary. Meantime, internal development also equally important. These days I'm talking the hygiene of physical health. Similarly, we need hygiene of emotion. In fact, this country, India, in ancient time, very, very rich sort of knowledge about mind or consciousness. So nowadays should not remain in ancient literature, but we must look at these things and further sort of experiment. I think that's very, very important. My own sort of last 30 years experience talking or dealing with scientists, modern scientists, they found the information from ancient Indian psychology very, very useful. So dialogue with modern scientists, we also learned very, very useful sort of knowledge about matters and cosmology, these things. To scientists, our ancient sort of knowledge about mind or consciousness, they found extremely useful information. So now, over 30 years, you see, we really developed very, very very serious sort of discussion. Now, every year, annually, some bigger meeting or some smaller meeting, and particularly in America, we developed one sort of institution that called Mind and Life Institution. Start from America. Now the one already now start in Europe, in Switzerland. Now in Meerut, near Delhi. We already now start a setup, one sort of a branch of that. And then interest showing some Chinese university, also you see showing interest. So, firstly, these knowledge come from India. So this country, I think these are your own treasures. So must sort of, must make sort of alive, not dead culture or dead knowledge, like that. Next question.
Kangan Agarwal, Don Bosco School.
Good morning, Your Holiness. I've got a very short question for you. How to control anger?
As I mentioned earlier, hygiene of emotion. Our life, I said, a lot of sort of causes, a lot of sort of condition or causes of anger, already bound to happen. Then how to react that? Now, two things. Firstly, you see, you familiarize the practice of compassion, sense of concern of others' well-being. That includes your enemy, your troublemaker. Here, you see, you have to make distinction. Actor and action. Your enemy's action is concerned, sometimes necessary to react, to oppose, to counterforce, counter-reaction, counter. But actor side, still a human being. So they deserved our sense of compassion, sense of concern of their well-being. So you can take countermeasure out of sense of concern of their well-being, not anger, not hatred. That's more effective, more realistic. All these depend on our knowledge, holistic knowledge, holistic view. As I mentioned earlier, you see, they think about humanity, global level, and basic human nature, also the latest scientific sort of research. Understand these things, then you will develop certain sort of attitude. Anger is no use for solving problem or for your own health. That does not mean accept others' wrongdoing. As far as their wrongdoing, wrong action is concerned, you have freedom to take counter force, try to stop. Clear? So sometimes you see people, I think they get misunderstand the practice of forgiveness. Forgiveness, not forgetness, or accept others' wrongdoing. Forgiveness means because of their wrongdoing, you keep anger, you let develop anger, usually come. So we deliberately try to not develop anger. That's forgiveness. Clear? Next.
Krishna Datta from South Point School.
Your Holiness, my question is, what is the key to a happy and contented life? Does moderation in our habits and actions play a role in this matter?
Two things. For physical well-being, also you see important. Even full of compassion here, mind, the physical, very poor physical health will not be happy person. We have to take care about the health, isn't it? My Muslim friends now, since yesterday, we become very close of a feeling. So, good health, including very dignified bear. That also is necessary. But at the same time, healthy mind, not disturbed not, as I mentioned earlier, fear, anger, distrust, these destroy our peace of mind and self-confidence. So we need certain effort, certain method with fuller knowledge about the whole system of emotion. Then you can keep your peace of mind, no matter how difficult it is. You can keep peace of mind. If you lose peace of mind, then physically very comfortable life, that person will never be a happy person. Even if it's medical, our common sense, you see, the doctors advise us, relax, relax. Relax means mentally calm. That's the meaning of relaxation. Full of anxiety, full of anger here, then physically just lay down on a comfortable room. It's not relaxed. Clear? So, thinking this line, one way, compassion. Second, holistic view. Holistic view brings conviction about the value of compassion. Clear? So that's way. And then, like, I think our physical health, basic immune system, basic health is good. Then some virus may not disturb you much. Basic health, poor, weak, then even small virus then disturb you or destroy your health. So similarly, basic way of thinking, basic sort of, or the emotional sort of level, calm, or the strong, then small problems will not disturb your peace of mind. Basic mental state weak, then even small, event immediately destroy your peace of mind. So this training or awareness is the key factor. Even physical health, you need some physical exercise. So similarly, mental health also you need familiarize you see some of these sort of concepts. Then your mental strength increasing. Clear?
The last name I have is Priyam Kumar, Army Public School.
First of all, good morning to Your Holiness. My question to you is that living in the 21st century, do you really think that being calm in a hostile environment will get us anywhere? I mean, even developed cultures are adopting an individualistic orientation towards life.
Actually, I often used to telling people or share other people, the 20th century, of course, in human history, the 20th century is really, I think, very special century. In the sense, further sort of, also the scientific sort of development or economic development, many fields, wonderful century. At the same time, a lot of violence, a lot of war. So, according to some historian, the 20th century, number of people who killed through violence, over 200 millions. Immense sort of violence, if really brings some positive result, then some people may justify immense violence. But that's not the case. The beginning of this 21st century, some violence here and there. These are clearly the symptom or result of past mistake or past negligence. So people get used whenever some sort of disagreement or conflict about different interests, then use force. That's because of 20th century sort of habit. So, now since violence never solved problem, even some sort of immediate sort of the solution, at the long run, negative consequences. So, therefore, this century, 21st century, should be century of dialogue. Many countries, many areas, people used to say, oh, peace, peace, peace. Just peace is not sufficient. How to tackle problem? That's not dialogue. Problem which causing violence. Now that must deal through dialogue, non-violent way. So therefore, this 21st century should be century of dialogue. Then we can develop century of peace. In order to carry meaningful dialogue, you need willpower. Willpower comes through compassion, sense of concern of others' well-being, respect to others' right. Then meantime, you see, holistic view. Even I can destroy this particular sort of nation. Consequences will be more serious, or consequences remain even centuries. So use human brain properly, holistically, then deliberately avoid use force. I think we can, and then so in our education field, I think the concept of dialogue, I think, must include. In order to build century of dialogue, we have to educate from kindergarten up to university level, like that. Yes? Oh, you have one question. Yes, okay. Now this is the last question.
Last question.
Good morning, Your Holiness. Do you think that the Tibetan plateau will contribute into the management of global warming, because Tibetan plateau is the roof of the world in near future?
Okay. One Chinese ecologist. A few years ago, I saw one article wrote by one Chinese ecologist. That article brought to me by one Irish ecologist from Ireland. So that article, you see, mentioned for global warming, the effect from Tibetan plateau is as much as South Pole and North Pole. Therefore, he described Tibetan plateau is third pole. North Pole, South Pole, third pole. So he mentioned the Tibetan plateau is very, very important sort of place for global warming. And then also, you see, he mentioned the rate, global warming rate. The rest, I think, 0.1. The rate, Tibetan plateau, 0.3. So therefore, it is a very serious matter. Not only concern that area, but even it's a global level. So therefore, now already number of Chinese ecologists, although there is limitation about freedom of speech, freedom of expression, there are people who expressing their concern. So now, one time, you see, they went Zhorongqin, the prime minister, I think, many years ago, he gives some instruction, because of the thick forest area, you see, the deforestation must stop. However, through corruption, the local officials and businessmen, there are different deals through pockets. So they won't carry properly the central government instruction. So otherwise, you see, the government level also, you see, paying some attention. So hopefully, now new government, new president, you see, seems more realistic. He openly, you see, mentioned seeking truth from fact. That one famous sort of Deng Xiaoping sort of statement, slogans. So it's a policy based on seeking truth, based on reality, in order to get reality, seeking truth from fact. So that is quite, I would say, scientific way, so hopeful. We'll see.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. 2 minutes. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.